home. A lot of them will be body weight exercises, but we'll also show you some hand weights. If you don't have hand weights at home, you can always pick up water bottles or even some soup cans, anything with just a little resistance. Then we'll talk a little bit about form. And for the exercises that we're going to show you, let's maybe try to get 12 to 15 repetitions. We won't do all those today, just in the interest of time. But when you're doing these at home, maybe that 12 to 15 repetitions, maybe 2 to 3 sets. And you can alternate days. You don't have to do it every day, or maybe one day you want to do all the lower body things that we're going to go through, and maybe the next day you work on the upper body with the weight. So anyway, we're going to get started with some lower body squats. Now, with our squats, we want our feet about hip width apart, and I'll show you both directions. Common mistake, a lot of people with squats, what they'll do is when they go to squat, they push their knees forward, and the knees go beyond your toes. So we don't want to do that. We want to protect your knees, be really careful. So if you can imagine, when you go to sit down in a chair, your hips go back first. So from this view, what we want to do with our squat is we want to push those hips back. I want to be able to look down and still see my toes. So my knees need to be really over, just barely above where my ankles are. Again, I don't want there. So from the side, what that's going to look like, remember you have got an imaginary chair back there. We're going to push those hips back. And we're just going to about 90 degrees. We don't have to go all the way down here, but we're going to go to about 90 if your knees allow that. If they don't, then obviously that's not what you're going to do. You can stay right here, do some pulsing squats. But for our regular, just general squats, and again, I'm going to take my arms and I'm going to reach forward, and I'm going to push up. Now, what I'm doing is I'm pushing my weight through the heels. Actually, I can kind of lift my toes in my shoes, and we're just going to reach forward and come back. So again, what I'm not doing is this. I really want to concentrate on pressing up with those heels. And you can see we're working quadriceps, we're working hamstrings, we're working glutes, which is why squats are great, just all over combo exercise for the lower body. So you keep doing it. We come back to the front so you can see just a little different view. And we're just going to reach forward. My head stays up. I'm not dropping my head down here. Just pushing back and pressing up. So I want to keep everything nice and tall. We're going to exhale as we come down. Remember, on the hardest part of the exercise, that's where we're going to exhale, and then we'll inhale on the way up. So get about 15, take a little break, and then you can kind of do another set of 15, maybe, like I said, 2 sets, try to work in 2 sets of that. Another great combo exercise for lower body are lunges. And kind of the same technique, and again, I'll show you from this way first because I want to make sure that your knees are in proper alignment. That's really the biggest thing with lunges and squats. So as you lunge forward and drop that back leg, you're going to bend that back leg, and again, my knee stays over the ankle. Very common, sometimes what we see is people lunging forward and pushing that knee beyond the toe. So I'm going to make sure that I'm going to lunge straight down, and I'm going to come straight up. Straight down, straight up. That back leg will naturally bend. Your weight is focused on this front leg. This leg is not the one you want to push up with. This is the leg we're working. This one's come along for the ride. So just like we did with the squats, we're pushing through the heel, we're coming straight up. And again, if you can come down here, we're about 90 degrees. My knee is not over my toes. We can switch that out, obviously. We want to do both sides. Lunging straight down, straight up, torso stays nice and tall. Don't forget to breathe. We're going to do, like I said, about maybe 12 to 15 repetitions on each side. So straight down, straight up, press to the heel from the front. Again, it just kind of looks the same. Straight down, straight up. We're not going forward. Straight down, straight up. And remember, the front leg is the one that's working, so that's the one I want you to really push up from. This one's going to work too, but this is where the push needs to come. So remember, with your lunges, you also want to do equal amount on both sides, because that's important too. If you want to work a little bit of inner thigh, and again, still doing some body weight exercises, we can do some lateral lunges. So we can step to the side, lunge, and bring it back. Step it out, lunge, and bring it back. Same thing, my knee's going to stay beyond, or behind my toe. And then don't forget to forward the other side. So those are 3 really good exercises. You don't have to have any weights with that. You're using your own body weight and working everything, quadriceps, hamstrings, and glutes. We're going to go a little bit to upper body. This time we are going to pick up our hand weights or your water bottles or your soup cans. So remember, anytime you're picking things up, don't drop your head below the heart. Let's work that squat one more time, and we're going to pick up those weights. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to do some rows. We're going to work the back. Again, I'm going to turn to the side just so you can see a little bit better. Just, kind of like when you start a lawnmower, you're pulling weeds. We're going to take this and just hinge forward slightly. Again, head is in alignment with the spine. I'm not dropping way down here. I'm going to bring those weights to the side, and I'm going to just squeeze and bring those weights up. Now, what I want you to think about with this is we are working back and shoulders. We're not pulling with the arms. We're trying to make the back and shoulders actually do the work. You're going to feel this, especially at the top. We got those shoulder blades pulled together. Think about a tennis ball. I'm going to put that tennis ball in between my shoulder blades. I'm going to hold it. So that's that squeeze at the top. So again, just nice and controlled. You can alternate things out, one arm at a time. Again, you can kind of work a little differently here. You can always, even with some of these, you can add a little pulse at the top. So again, lots of options here, but this is your bent over row. And we're just bent over slightly. Anytime we're in this position, we want to make sure those abs are pulled in, because that's going to support the lower back. So we don't want just a loose core. We want to really tighten things up with that. So that's our bent over row, back and shoulders. We're going to come to the front. I'm going to show you some shoulder presses and a little bit of chest work. So we're going to do kind of a little combination of each. So I've got palms out, I've got our water bottles or our soup cans, and let's bring those elbows together. This is my 90 degrees or my football goal post, and then we're pressing overhead. So we're going to just put that together. So we're going to squeeze in and press up. Squeezing in, pressing up. Now if you have any shoulder issues, you can hold just this part, or you can even come down if you don't want to do that. Just come do some shoulder shrugs. Just bring those shoulders up to your ears. But again, let's go through this one more time. So we're going to come in, squeeze, and then press up. Now when we press up, we're slightly overhead, we're not directly, and we're not locking those elbows out. We're going to keep those joints soft no matter what we do. So we've got some shoulder work and some chest work here. Good. Again, 12 to 15 repetitions. Give yourself a little break, and then do one more set of those. All right, perfect place from here to do some arms. We're going to come down for some bicep curls. So elbows are tucked in. We're going to bring those shoulders back. Stand up nice and tall. I've got neutral wrists. What I don't have is a hyperextension or here. So my wrists are just neutral. They're just in alignment with the rest of my arms here. And we're just going to curl those weights up. Pretty simple. We're just going to bring them up and bring them down. So we're working biceps. We're working right here. We're going to keep those elbows tucked in. We're not going to rush through anything. Same option as before. You can alternate things out. Gives you a little bit of break in between, but actually, you're not going to get much of a break with this because you're going to keep one hand with a little bit of contraction. So, lots of options. Just shake it up a little bit, make it a little different. So that's for our biceps. Now we got to work the other part of the arm, which is the triceps. So I'm going to turn to the side for this one so that you can see some tricep kickbacks. Elbows tucked in. I've got my alignment right here. Remember that I'm hinging forwards. That means I got to tighten up those abs. And I'm going to take those weights and I'm going to do my kickbacks. Now the thing with the kickbacks is I want that little squeeze at the top. I want you to stop right there for just a half a second and squeeze. I don't want to swing. That's not doing anything for your triceps. So elbows in, kick it back, give it a little squeeze at the top. Squeeze, squeeze, just like we did. You can kind of alternate things out. Gives you a little bit of a break if you need it. We got those triceps right there. And I feel this, so it doesn't take much. You can even do this without weights, any of these exercises. Just imagine you have something and really just use that body weight and just push it back. You will definitely feel this. You do not have to have weights if you don't have those handy. The last thing we want to go through real quick is maybe some push-ups against the wall. It's another great body weight exercise. Works chest, shoulders, arms, triceps, biceps. So we walk to the wall, and we're going to do these against the wall because everybody's got a wall. And these are definitely, we can make these as easy or as hard as we need to. So if the further we step back, the harder it's going to be. The closer we step in, the less and we are pressing away. Doesn't have to be super hard. You don't have to be on your toes on the floor, although that's an option, or you can be on the knees on a mat on the floor. Again, even against the wall, if you want to make that a little more challenging, step away from the wall and press. And again, you've got chest here, you've got shoulders, you've got some great triceps, so lots of different options there. One more important thing before we finish up is to make sure that you stretch all these body parts. So since we just finished chest, let's take those arms behind, and we're just going to pull those shoulder blades together and down away from my ears. So this is a great chest stretch for any of that chest work that we've done. For the back and shoulders, we can take those arms to the front. This time we're going to think about separating those shoulder blades and just rounding those arms. That feels pretty good. A little tricep stretch. You can reach that one arm behind. Try to reach the middle of your back. Don't force it. Just kind of help it out a little bit. And then for the bicep, just open that wrist. We're not putting any pressure on the wrist. We're just going to open it and stretch out that muscle there. For the legs, you can take just do maybe a few little hamstring curls to stretch out those quadriceps. Depending on your knees and your flexibility, you can reach it behind. So if I can do this without falling, bring those knees together. Great stretch for the quadricep. And then our hamstring stretch, we're going to take one foot in front, toes up. We're going to sit back in that chair. Again, keep our head up. You don't have to go very far. You will feel the stretch behind the leg. So I think, obviously you want to stretch both legs, but I think we've got everything that we need to. So have a great rest of your day. Take this circuit. You can, like I said, do lower body one day, upper body, mix them all up, take a day off in between. There's lots of ways that you can work this. So thanks for watching.